Hey everybody, welcome back to the Proactive Prevention Podcast. Where we mix the music with the message and bring you real stories of recovery, resilience, and hope. I'm really excited about today's guest, Senja. Senja is a certified recovery specialist with experience in peer support, outreach, and holistic wellness. Senja has a strong background in youth advocacy and community outreach, and she also teaches yoga, bringing a holistic, compassionate approach to everything she does. She combines her professional knowledge with her own lived experience to meet people where they are with empathy and dignity. Today, she's here to share her personal recovery story, what life was like as a young adult, the turning point what led her to get sober, and the lessons she learned along the way. We'll also talk about what and why early prevention, like what we do here at Road Radio USA, is so important, and in helping young people make healthy choices before addiction takes hold. Let's give a warm welcome to Senja. Do you want to introduce Ryan?
This is my fiancé, Ryan.
Senja, can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and also as a recovery specialist? And you can also tell us about your friend here.
Hi, I'm Senja. This is my fiancé, Ryan. We're both in recovery. I've worked for the past couple of years as a CRS here in Williamsport, working with individuals at different points in the treatment process, pursuing recovery from opiate use disorder and other substance use disorders. So I've been a peer advocate and met with people one-on-one, set goals with them, been a confidant, been a trusted party as they navigate a lot of that, and that's been what's kept me busy lately.
Okay, that's pretty much what I was going to ask you about my second question then. Why did you become a recovery specialist? Is that right?
Yes, I didn't really go out of my way to pursue it. It kind of fell in my lap. So I was here in Williamsport for the past 5 years since I've been in recovery, and it was a position I'd heard about through friends. I knew that it existed as a job. And actually my counselor at Crossroads Counseling down here in town had suggested that maybe I had a future in social work.
A story to tell.
Or something that I would work in social work, that I would be able to work with people in recovery. So kind of went back and forth in my head a little bit over the next couple of years. And then when it came to a point that I was looking for a job, and it was there. So. Okay.
So would you mind sharing more about your personal recovery now?
Okay. So I started drinking liquor when I was 13. I got addicted to alcohol pretty fast. And other substances came into play throughout the time, but ultimately it started and ended with a lot of unhealthy alcohol use, which had been prevalent in my family throughout generations. So, I mean, there's a lot or a little to tell about it, but...
The recovery process for me started, I mean, I guess you could say back in, 2012. I went to Florida. I was in and out of a lot of rehabs.
How old are you today, by the way?
I'm 36 today.
You're 36. How old are you?
30.
30, okay.
Yeah, so, but like the recovery process actually started for me in 2020. I got arrested. My ex died while I was in jail, and I got out, and I just decided like this was, I needed to make a significant change. I was facing charges. So it wasn't like I was forced into it, but it was like a happy place to kind of land. So I did, NA a lot for a lot of years.
So was it alcohol or drugs that you really were?
Both. I mean, it's, equally, the alcohol would just kind of pepper in, but it was drugs, so.
Okay. What kind of drugs?
Like cocaine, heroin, those are my two favorites. But like, look, I mean, I've done everything twice, just certain things I got addicted to, you know what I mean? I stuck with cocaine, heroin. That was a hard combo to put down, especially when you have the money to kind of fund it. In 2020, I also had the genius idea to start my own cleaning business.
Okay.
And then boom, COVID hit. But I got a bunch of PUA money from that, and I got like loans and stuff, and it allowed me to propel actually into to doing that. So
Okay.
all that kind of helped me.
And this is kind of your story too? Not his story, but
Oh, my story is very different
Okay,
because
let's hear your story now.
I had the advantage of never having any issues with the law throughout any of my life. And I grew up in New York City, and alcohol for me was just a given. I got drunk for the first time in Paris when I was 13 because my parents
Wow.
sent me there for a month for
Okay.
this program where I basically was a free agent. As a 13-year-old, I was just romping around Europe, getting served alcohol. I came back to the city. I was already in the fast crowd, so my friends, you know, we would
The
get
city of
tickets.
Williamsport.
No, in New York. I'm from New York.
New York.
And
Apologies.
and I mean, back then it was like middle school, so we'd get tickets to the high school party. There'd be some warehouse party. We'd get a bottle. We'd get drunk on a rock. And that's
Boy.
how it started. And I mean, I was back and forth between Paris and New York in high school. And
My
then
goodness.
in college, I went to school in California. So that's where most of my drinking took place. I've been sober as long as I've been here. I've never been drunk in Williamsport. So.
Wow. That's crazy.
So my story's a little different.
guess so.
It started really glamorous, right? With like a lot of nightclubs and a lot of like, you know, glitz and glamour. It got to a point that was really depraved and sad. And I really like, I did come from a background, I went to private school and everything, you know. I was set up for a lot of success. And I really blew all of that. I mean, so many job interviews, I failed out of college, so many things that were set up for me
Okay.
to be successful in life.
Okay.
Drinking and alcohol more than anything. There were other substances or other mental health things. You can look at it from another framework, but just the bottle and the liquor. I mean, I drank my way literally out of college. I didn't submit my term papers because I was just drinking
Wow.
alone in my dorm room. So,
Okay.
you know, something that started alcohol at the beginning of my teen life was like, this is so much fun. This is everything.
Okay.
Convivial, I thought it was what I needed to have fun, to connect with people, to socialize, to be this fun, wild, you know, child that I thought I was.
Okay.
And that's, you know, it delivered something different to me in life.
Okay. Crazy story so far.
Yeah.
What about you?
I don't know where do you want me to start?
You're asking me a question.
I don't know.
Tell me about your education so far. That's what I want to hear.
So I got my GED the day I turned 16.
Okay.
And that was it. I never had any interest in like going into any higher education or anything like that.
Okay.
I always knew I was like, you know, had an entrepreneurial spirit in that way, but you know, 16, I was, you know, I was already on probation when I was 16, you know what I mean? I've been in and out of the criminal justice system for the better part of 20 years.
Okay, so you're in and out of jail, huh?
In and out of yeah, probation offices, jails, yeah.
Okay.
Well, it started with underage drinking.
It did start with underage. Well, it started with truancy, but it's you know, and then it landed. It went quickly to, and I'm not exaggerating. A lot of them are off my record now because it's been so long. But I got
Yeah.
over like 30 underage alcohol charges in like the span of like a year. So when I was like 19 years old, my drinking really picked up, and there was a lot of other drugs and stuff involved too.
Mm-hmm.
But the drinking kind of filled a certain vacuum that was left. So, yeah.
How long have you guys been together now?
About 2.5 years.
2.5 years? Okay. Glad I'm asking these questions. I'm just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
This is really good. How did you guys approach these first steps toward recovery, and what helped you stay committed?
We didn't meet in early recovery. We already had been in recovery for a couple of years when we met.
Okay.
For me, I found a fellowship of people that helped me in my early recovery, and I leaned heavy on a lot of friends, people that I knew that had a lot of experience. Either some people, because I had tried to get sober before.
Okay.
I had had a year that I'd abstained from alcohol when I was 22.
Okay.
So there were some people that I looked up to that I knew and kind of. And people in my life too. I just leaned heavy on my support system, I think,
Okay.
and I also had to look at myself. And I was at a point where like I hadn't ever really considered my future much
Okay.
because it was sort of like the live fast, die young mentality. And by the time I was 25, you start to realize like, hey, I'm still here. Like I got to do adult things now. and I just got sick of my own, whatever. It was a mentality shift. I think I had to be willing to change my perspective.
Right. Okay. And what about you?
What was the original question? I'm sorry.
That's okay. What was the question?
I don't know.
Okay.
I never answer
How
questions.
did it start?
How did you approach
Early
these,
recovery.
Yeah. How did you approach these first steps toward recovery, and what helped you stay committed?
So, again, the facing the legal charges and having had just a drastic change in my life happen so fast, I was kind of willing to do anything, at that point. And it's like I also knew what I needed to do. I knew it would look good. I knew what would, I know what the judges wanted. So it was kind of like the last option, but I was like happy with it.
Okay.
I was happy that it was there.
Okay.
So it's just my gratefulness kept me in, got me in the door, kept me my desperation got me in the door. My gratitude towards it kept me in for like the very beginning. I was just thankful that it was there, thankful that people were there, thankful that it was a thing that was there. Because it's like those are like really low points in life, and you don't usually have a lot of friends at those points.
Right.
People aren't really there, you know what I mean? So that kind of kept me going for the very beginning. And then I just tried to pay it back, and it became a thing.
How much is God in your lives right now, guys?
God is huge in our lives.
Is it?
I
Is he?
think.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Without that, I think that's.
Do you go to church anywhere? You guys have a church you go to? Which one?
So I'll go to my mom's church on. It's in Loyalsock. It's off
Northway
Beck Road.
Community
Northway
Church.
Community.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. You consider that a difference? I mean,
Yeah.
as you guys a pickup and things like that?
It's new to me because I didn't grow up in a Christian household.
Really?
And I didn't really have any much exposure to Christianity.
Yeah.
Other than obviously like in the world, but not in my life.
Yeah,
and
I
so
understand.
that's something that I only kind of found in my life
Yeah.
more recently.
Okay, cool. I think that's important too. So,
Yeah.
how has your personal journey influenced the work you do as a recovery specialist?
So the population I work with and have worked with in the past couple years faces a lot of adversity that I never faced.
Okay.
So I'll just give that disclaimer first because there's a lot of limit to what I have lived experience with. Just because I never dealt with the criminal justice system. I've never had children, so I've never dealt with dealing
Yet.
with addiction. I haven't had children yet, God willing. But I just, but in terms of my lived experience, when it's about the feelings sometimes and not the story and the events, because when we get stuck in a lot of the chronicles of the events, it can make us seem all very different and like we all have very different experiences. But when it comes to addiction, I think that there's this shared sense of losing your own autonomy to this urge or this need to use a substance, this compulsive behavior. When you lose your agency to that, when you lose your autonomy and your sense of self, I think that when I can resonate with people on those kinds of shared feelings that we have, that's when it starts to make us feel less alone. And it's that lays a foundation for us to make progress, I think.
Wow, good answer. Go ahead.
Yeah, when people love you at your lowest, you know what I mean? There's a special bond that's formed. And it's hard to kind of break. It becomes like a family type thing if you're doing it right anyway. You're supposed to have home groups and things like that if you're doing like traditional 12-step stuff. And that was part of me. I was doing 12-step stuff. So that was, for the first 2.5 years. It's been 5 years.
So tell me about your friends.
What friends?
Tell me about your friends. Do you guys have close friendships together or personally?
I've had God willing, I've had 2 friends survive all of this that I've known for like 15 years plus. You know what I mean? Like, they're pretty integral in this. My friends change sometimes around here. Sometimes situations happen. And dynamics change within people. You know what I mean? You kind of gotta understand. You know what I mean? You gotta kind of move and shake people. So, I've done that a couple times around here.
Sure.
But I've had some pretty solid friends throughout my life. Also, most of the people that I knew, like, I knew a lot of people that died off in the opioid epidemic and all that kind of stuff.
have
Like
you?
most of
Okay.
my, like I have a lot of dead friends, so it's
Yeah.
like, you know, I have new friends, but like
I
the
understand
people that I grew up
completely.
with, like kind of like all that, like it's almost like that's like relics, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like that's
yep.
got a lot of death there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
I'm really blessed to have some close friends in my
Yeah,
life.
good.
I'm not really like the girl group, like friend group type
Sure.
of, like I tend to have like a lot of like close female friendships that are
I
like kind of
understand.
one-on-one. It
Yeah.
tends to be, I found a lot of women in recovery have inspired me a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of strength in that sisterhood.
All my close friends have moved away.
Yeah.
So I don't really have any.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, I have
Yeah.
friends, but
There's
not,
that
you know
too.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
But-
Yeah,
So-
there's that too.
Anyway.
Yeah, and a couple of my old friends that I used to party with have been in recovery for a while now,
Yeah.
and so that's cool. And they live in different states, but just keeping in touch and,
Yeah.
and knowing that, like, just that we're all kind of grown up and on the other side of that,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yep. Anyway, why is early prevention, like what Road Radio does, is so important? What we do is we go around to schools and put on school assemblies, to high schools and junior high schools mainly, and put on all about proactive prevention. We go into these schools and put this show on, stay away from alcohol and other drugs. That's what we do. For sure. So why is early prevention so important, you think, to these kids? Tell me about it.
Yeah.
If you saw a show in school, okay, stay away from drugs and alcohol,
Yeah.
how well would that work in your guys' perspective?
It didn't work.
didn't work.
They did that.
did
You
they?
know, and
Okay.
it didn't work.
Yeah,
You know, those were always like kind of hokey and corny, and
Yeah.
like, you know, nobody was really paying attention to that. I think engagement is good. I think, like, you know what I mean. I think like stuff like this, like podcasts and stuff like this, is
Right.
good. I think kids, you know, they want to talk. You know, let them like I let them. You know, I would let them ask the questions. If it was up to me, I would just let them ask me, because like, you know, when I was young, like if you told me not to do something, I was gonna do it twice.
Sure.
Anyway, you know what I mean.
Sure.
I'm still kind of like that, but like,
okay.
you know.
I understand. What would you have done, though, to make it better? A hokey, like you said, cheesy program to
Like
come
again,
into
put it
schools.
on them. I'm not, you know what I mean?
No,
I would make
we wanna
them,
hear this.
I would try and engage, either with just question and answer stuff, or like just approach them like, because I feel like a lot of them feel like you get talking down to me, like I don't
Sure.
understand this. It's like, I understand this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, just hit them where they're at. That's what I would do.
We have a Q&A at the end of our show. We're only about a half a dozen kids might ask a question, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
good though.
And it's not the ones that really need to hear it. You know, they really want to find out, you know. They're the ones that sit in the back and it's like, oh, this
Yeah.
is stupid.
Yeah,
That was
but,
me.
But, yeah, but there's, but see, like
They're the
that
ones
can
that need
change
to find
too.
it.
Like, you know, I don't know. Look, I can't comment on schools. Like I said, I got my GED the day I turned 16.
Yeah.
They're getting ran.
I
I got out of
understand.
there.
I
So
understand.
I don't really know. You know, I fully had committed to a certain way of life at that
Yeah,
point.
I
So.
understand. What about you? What do you think could be done?
Well, I remember when in my high school, we had Freedom from Chemical Dependency was the organization. I don't know if they're still around, but they came to my high school, and I was telling him earlier, I remember one of them kind of got through to me because I remember it,
Oh,
at
yeah?
least.
Okay.
And he was like, look, they're paying me to be here, like, my life's okay, I'm okay, I got a roof over my head, whatever, but like, don't think that you can just get addicted to drugs and then get into recovery and everything's just going to be fine, because my life is still in shit. He didn't say that, but he kind of gave this impression of like, it's not all together. And I feel like that kind of got through to me, because I could see in him that I think part of me there was some connection to my future, because and I am so grateful for my life. I am in love. We have
Yeah.
amazing dogs. There's so much I have to be grateful for, and I wouldn't change anything about my life. I really wouldn't go back and change anything.
Okay.
But for anyone who wants to, build a life for themselves, like, I would just say, don't give up what you want most for what you want now.
Okay.
It's a little
Okay.
corny, but to encourage a child not to be like, no, you just can't do this because it's bad, but what do you want out of your life? Like, maybe you don't know yet, but
Yeah,
if there's
sure.
something that maybe sparks your interest, that maybe you want to be this when you grow up, or you want to pursue this or study this, like, just from the beginning, alcohol is going to start getting in the way right away, and it's
Okay.
going to keep getting in the way of everything you want.
Okay. Very good answer. Very good answer. And that's kind of my next question. What advice would you give to a young person who may already be experimenting with alcohol or drugs? That's pretty much my next question, isn't it? How can parents, teachers, and peers support someone they might think is struggling?
I might think is drugging them.
Struggling.
Oh, struggling.
No. Let me answer the question. Ask the question again. How can parents, teachers, and peers
Okay.
support someone they think might be struggling?
Struggling.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's. That's a hard question.
Say a
You gotta
friend-
listen. You gotta ask some questions. Check in. How are you doing? Like, try to get.
There's honestly, there's usually like telltale signs, like, because a lot of times drugs and alcohol are like the last. That's like the last solution to this person is
Right.
for a problem, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So like a lot of times, like at least for me, like you know what I mean. There's a lot of trauma-based stuff that I like. You know what I mean. Drugs and alcohol just kind of filled that.
Sure.
So like that's gonna and I think like 9 times out of 10, it's like worth mental health checks and I think are worth doing with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Let alone some kid that might be like showing signs of like struggling.
Right.
I know when I started acting out as somebody would have leveled me.
Yeah.
And talked to me like you know didn't like wasn't like patronizing.
Yeah.
You know, like if I didn't see through the hokiness or the phoniness of it,
Mm-hmm.
I think I would have been more honest, and I think I might have been able to get more help. But that's on the individual, you know.
Okay. How many friends have you lost or died?
Dude, I like more. It's you know what I mean. It's slowed down recently, but I think that's just because they're all dead now.
5 or 6?
No, like 20, 30.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like all the people I grew up with. I mean, we're talking whole classes of people. Like, I mean, and that's just close to me personally. Like, that's just, I've like, you know what I mean? And then other people that I know also have that. But to them personally, I mean, it's an epidemic. It's huge.
From fentanyl, you think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
Really?
fentanyl, opiates, all the way, this is going back 2008. You know what I mean? So, this isn't, you know, I don't know.
How about you? You lost any friends from fentanyl or?
No. I lost my mom to suicide, and alcohol played a big role in that. She was a wine drinker. You know, it's not a problem if it's red wine, right? And you're a stay-at-home mom. But no, not to make light of it. She had a really serious drinking problem and serious PTSD, and she died by suicide when I was right about to start high school. So that was a big reason why my drinking got bad. But I would say, yeah, if a kid's struggling, there's probably a reason. Like, I don't think any kid is just going to be, like, healthy, well-adjusted, not going through anything and just, you know, pick up a bottle. And my time as a recovery specialist, I guess if I've learned anything about the population, it's like trauma is usually a factor. So my advice when helping or trying to be there for someone who might be struggling is just try to find out why or let them be heard. Make sure they feel safe telling someone what it is that's going on. It doesn't matter if it's a therapist, a school counselor, a trusted adult.
Okay.
Just any trusted adult. I think so many kids just need one adult they can trust.
Great. I'm glad you really brought that up. So, hey, this has been a great interview, the podcast.
you.
So listen, are there any final thoughts or do you guys have any questions for me? This is great. So I'd really like you guys to leave more input for me. Anything else you guys want to add? This podcast is going out to the world.
Just
Anybody can hear from you too, and this has been great. So let's hear
I mean,
about
this is
you.
like a preventative thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
We don't want kids on drugs.
We want
right?
kids to,
We want
you
kids
know.
off drugs,
Right, correct.
well, just know what you're signing up for, because like, you know, it doesn't. It really.
School assemblies.
I would say you have time. Maybe if you want to experiment, like you can do that when you're 25. Because listen, hear me out. Like if you they say that earlier you start drinking or using other substances, like statistically you're more likely to have a disorder or to develop a disorder.
You're right
so
about that.
you know what? Like if you want to try alcohol, like it's not going anywhere. It's gonna be there when you graduate college and when you accomplish the things you want. You can celebrate with a drink, and it probably won't ruin your life. But if you start right now, in your sophomore year of high school, you might not get there. You know, that's kind of how I feel about it.
It's good advice. It's good advice. How about you?
I mean, I would look at it like this: if addiction runs in your family, you're predisposed to it. You know, so you're not really playing with a full deck where like everybody else is. So like you got to kind of know these things that, because there's people that can go out and they can have a drink, right? And then there's other people that it ruins their life.
Okay.
There's this weird in between with that. So like figure out if that's, you know what I mean, what that means for you first. You know what I mean? I knew right away. I knew that was gonna be a problem right away. So I wasn't really, you know, wasn't really hiding it.
Okay.
So,
folks,
yep.
good luck with your marriage.
Hey, thanks.
Thank
When do you
you.
expect to get married?
Like sometime
Next
next
summer?
year. Yeah.
Next year sometime?
Yeah.
Okay. Best of luck to you, okay?
Thanks, man. Appreciate
And
it.
thanks again.
Yep.
Okay. See you
Thank
now.
you.
Yep.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Proactive Prevention Podcast. Until next time, this is Jimbo in stereo.